Okay, so we're continuing with this topic this week of ask and you shall receive. And of course, the hecklers in the back row are going, hey, spiritual guy, no, you don't. That's a load of crap. And I'm like taking the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune being thrown at me for claiming that the spiritual axiom that when you ask, you actually receive, because there seems to be, well, so much evidence to the contrary. But I'm here to tell you, not the only one, I'm here to tell you that everything you've ever asked for, you've either received already or it's lined up for you in what we might call a vortex or a continuum of future experiences. Can you be a little more practical, Greg? Well, I mentioned something, crows on the roof. I mentioned something that at the start that says it's quite possible for humans to get sort of backed up or clogged with their feelings. And some people might say, well, what does that mean? And what I'm saying is a lot of us have very chronic and habitual ways of feeling about life. In other words, we can think a whole bunch of stuff, but if you really interrogate and interview people, life feels a particular way, and it becomes very familiar, very chronic. Life feels like this. And when I'm saying that when we ask, we receive, it's obvious that we're asking all the time. Asking and desires, that button is on all the time. It never goes off. It's like somebody cut you off on the freeway, you want them killed. No, I'm just kidding. You want them to be re-educated. Somebody disrespects you, you want some respect. You look in your bank account and it's got a couple of too many zeros in it, you want some more cash. So we're always asking. Now, the key is receiving, being in receiving mode. And what I'm saying is humans can be in receiving mode or resistance mode. And it's really one or the other, resistance or receiving. Now, if we're always feeling a particular way about life, say life has done us wrong to some degree. We grew up in dysfunction, or we grew up without respect, or we grew up in poverty, or we grew up in anxiety, or we grew up in dysfunction, like all humans do. All humans are subject to these things. And scar might be too strong of a word, but it also might be too light of a word as well. And what it does is it elicits these very chronic ways of feeling about life. Now, if we're chronically feeling resentful or betrayed or poverty-stricken or misguided or purposeless or unworthy or undeserving or confused, if those are the emotions that are constantly swimming around inside of us, we have to realize that that way of feeling about life is not receptive. It's not open to the inflow of what it is that we've asked for. So humans are very, very funny, curious, amazing creatures in that they go through life, they experience things that make them ask, and yet they remain in the echo, you might say, of the feeling that was elicited when they asked in the first place. I don't think I've ever said it quite so well, but people go through experiences that are contrasting, crappy, you might say, and then it elicits thoughts and feelings. Those thoughts and feelings remain resonant or resident inside of them for conceivably a very long time. Those feelings are exactly the opposite of what it is that they want, and yet they remain in that condition, and therefore everything that they've asked for, which is all lined up, just backs up, just waiting to come in until the human becomes receptive rather than resistant. Now, this is one of the great benefits of meditation, is that we let these chronic patterns of thoughts and feelings dissipate inside of us. In so doing, we become spontaneously, automatically open and receptive to the great good that's waiting for us to come in. This is one of the 2 or 3 greatest keys and benefits of meditation. We simply slow down the movement of the mind and the heart so that the firewall of our own ego or self-identity or narrative is lowered. And then everything that we've asked for, love, respect, creativity, self-expression, truth, beauty, meaning, purpose, everything we've asked for can now come in. Wow. Now, this whole week, I've been batting this idea around inside of my head like a cat batting a ping pong ball around the living room, because when I start thinking about this stuff, it gets me all fired up, and I really like it. So I hope you've liked this topic this week and can give it some thought. We've looked at it from a lot of different angles, but the main thing is to remember is that everything you've asked for, it's already lined up and ready. And if you don't have it yet, if you've asked for some love and it's missing, you've asked for some cash and it's gone, you've asked for some self-respect and there's no evidence of it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means we're not receptive to it. And it's kind of the good news and the bad news. The bad news is we ain't received it yet. The good news is as soon as we learn through emotional wisdom, quieting our mind, cultivating a spiritual experience, and learning to match calamity with serenity, that the firewall within us will drop and all this will come in. Woohoo. All right, we'll chat about it tomorrow and have an enlightened day.